Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I would like to address some questions that Luimarco asked me directly in a video. And Louis, I really am glad that you asked these questions. I'm glad that you're discussing TRT, that it's becoming part of the fitness community, because the fitness community on YouTube is no longer just a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds. There's a ton of guys who are up in their late 20s, getting into their 30s, 40s, guys in our age bracket. Because I'm turning 38 next week. Louis is, I believe, 38 now. There's some other guys, there's several guys on TRT, they don't always discuss it, but there's several guys on YouTube channels who actually are on TRT, and we discuss it. Not all of them publicly admit it, but there are several. And it is an important topic with men's health, with fitness, particularly as all of us start to get older, and a lot of you younger guys, it's going to be real important to you in about 5 or 10 years possibly. So it's just something to consider. And Louis raised some points about things like andriol and things, and I would agree with you, Louis. And of course, I'm going to link his video down below, that if you have access to testosterone undecoinate legally in your country on a TRT prescription, whether it's the oral or the injectable, that very well might be the way to go just because of ease of use. Because oral andriol is non-toxic. It's very weak. You got to take quite a bit of it. It would be expensive without a prescription, but if you can get it on prescription, your insurance will cover it. Fantastic. And the same with the injectable version of the undecoinate, is that you can go sometimes up to 12 weeks. I don't know if that's ideal. I would say closer to 8 weeks. But in theory, you can go up to 12 weeks between injections. And that's a pretty big deal for testosterone replacement therapy, because normally you really ideally want a 1 week with the other esters. Now, the questions that you raised were really the health concerns. What problems are guys running into? Can it be safely done? And that can't be answered as a broad statement, because the problems that we have, the real issues that you're generally going to see are going to be elevated E2 levels, which is estrogen, and elevated red blood cell count. Now, elevated red blood cell count is a topic close to my heart. That's the side effect I get. So is it something to be concerned with? Yeah, it is something to be concerned with. But as far as the E2, how do you regulate that? Well, this would have been an issue in the past, but more and more doctors have even admitted to this who are doing their prescriptions, and even guys who want to just grab their own aromatase inhibitors and experiment it with themselves to get their blood work in check. Once you get it stable, you're good to go. Once you figure out the amount of an aromatase inhibitor you need to get your E2 in the perfect normal range on your given TRT dose, you're good. You're just going to take you a couple of blood tests to get it right. And with things like aromacin out there, this becomes less of an issue, because aromacin isn't harsh on the lipid profiles. It doesn't reduce gains in things like arimidex and letrozole and some of these other aromatase inhibitors can. And it doesn't have an estrogen rebound if you happen to run out and you need to renew your prescription, you forget to, and you run out for a couple of weeks, you're not going to get gyno. It doesn't have the same estrogen rebound that the non-suicide inhibitors do. And you need it at a very conservative dose. In fact, guys who have an elevated E2, they might be looking and say, well, you know, aromacin will be a little pricey. But when they realize that they might only need a quarter of each pill every day, they get a pill splitter, take a quarter of a pill every day, and that might push their E2 well down into the normal range if they were elevated. So it really is better than people realize when they realize they don't need to be popping the whole pill every day. That's way too much for most guys. And then use their blood work to sort it out. Now, it's the same thing with the red blood cell count. That's the big one. That's the one that can require extra work to get around. Is it a potential health issue in the long term? Yeah, that's your biggest concern right there with TRT. It's going to be that elevated red blood cell count. What is usually recommended is that if you can legally donate blood, for whatever reason, some people can't who are on TRT, donate blood every 3 to 4 months. That will generally bring that back down, or if not, go into your doctor and have him drain a pint off, and they will usually do that if you're suffering elevated hematocrit levels from testosterone replacement therapy. They will usually just drain a pint off of you if need be, 4 times a year. And that is your solution, because simply put, your body is going to simply overproduce red blood cells. And that is your biggest concern. Is it a problem for everyone? No, it isn't. But if it is, and blood work will tell you if it is, then there are procedures to get around that. But it is a little bit of an extra hassle if you suffer from that. So Louis, the question of can you do these things safely? Absolutely, particularly with things like access to aromacin, getting regular blood work. It doesn't have to be as expensive as a lot of these guys are making it out to be. It just depends on your doctor and what you're doing. But yeah, for many people, the big inconvenience might end up being having to get their blood drained off regularly. And in the long term, you're going to be pulling a pint out 4 times a year for the next 25 years. Unless we get some sort of technological breakthrough or medical breakthrough that'll keep that side effect in check without just mechanically removing the blood. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Vesuvius.